Hey, Totri. How you feeling?
Oh, yeah. Welcome
That's
in
not the energy that
to
we're
the
on right now.
PHNX Sun Devils show, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading that Circle K app. Today, terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by the Jedi Master himself, Erik Phoenix Rubis. And of course, we have Captain Redbeard behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. I'll tell you what, though, it is a bumpy evening if you're an Arizona State fan, because, yeah, they lost in overtime, and it's time for a walk of shame here. Do us a solid before we kick things into high gear. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Erik, this was something.
It certainly was a basketball game.
It certainly
I
was.
want to start semi-positively.
You're going to talk about how sexy the music is?
I feel like it's a little unnecessarily sexy because there's nothing sexy about losing.
No, but yeah, I guess that's fair.
But, like, it goes. Like,
yeah, you can be sexy in a loss, could
like,
you can have a sexy loss.
It depends on how you lose.
Okay.
Tonight was not a sexy game.
Remind me later. We're gonna get into what a sexy loss is.
That's for the fourth segment, folks.
That's absolutely
Make sure
for the
you
fourth
stick
segment.
Around.
Look, I think all Arizona State fans are feeling the same thing going into this game. That kind of like the discussion we had the other day before they played Kansas. They needed to win, right? They needed to win one of these two games, and especially after the way that you fell flat against Kansas, right, in that second half. Mm-hmm. Then you start off slow in this game, right? Something you couldn't afford to have happen. Now, thankfully, you're able to really get things kind of shifting in that second half.
Dude.
You bring it back. A pretty remarkable comeback.
That second half, I mean, the first half, Baylor outscored them, obviously, 32-20.
Yeah.
Right? It was basically the second half against Kansas where they scored 13 points, which, by the way, Kansas held, I believe it was Cincinnati. It was who they played tonight.
Yeah, it was.
They held them to 14 points in the second half to come back and beat them. Cincinnati was ranked recently. So that's just Big 12 basketball, but I digress. ASU was down by 12. They scored 20 points in the first half. Second half, they scored 41 points.
Yeah.
Right? And their chaotic defense is what eventually brought them back into it. But 41 points to Baylor's 29. Like, Baylor averaged about 31 points per half. You know, so did ASU. They ended up tied, right? Like, in the overtime period is what really put it away. BC says they just ran out of energy coming back. It was 11-5 in OT, and ASU didn't score until the very end of overtime. And that was because, this is the part of the game that we should probably spend the most time talking about, was that second half, specifically like the second half of the second half. I hate that college basketball doesn't do quarters.
Yeah.
Defensively, they made big plays. They hit big shots. That feels like, if anything, the Bobby Hurley team identity is like in a lot of these big moments, they make things interesting. They find ways to claw back into games. Tonight, they just didn't have enough. The comeback was too late and they ran out of gas.
Yeah, they ran out of gas. And, you know, we talk about, again, trying to compare what we saw in the second half against Kansas versus really the first half in this game, right? And it felt like a lack of multiple scoring options. Again, for me, like, I know you can give credit to these Big 12 defenses that Kansas has and Baylor, but like when you look at tonight versus, again, specifically in that first half versus Kansas in the second half, you really felt the absence of Sandin in the second half of that Kansas game. It felt like in the first half of this game, I know the box score has Maston at Alston at 14, Bashir at 10, and BJ, of course, at 22. But like that all felt like it came in the second half comeback.
Yeah.
It was all BJ in that first half.
Well, and you only had 5 points from Josan Sand in his first game back from ankle injury, only playing 17 minutes.
Only 5 shots.
You have to assume, and we were watching the game without sound, so we don't know if there was any report on that, because there was a couple other games going on in the office. But he had like a boot or some sort of thing, ankle recovery thing on. You have to assume he's not 100%, but he's trying to give it a go. You're already super short. Amir Ali only played 4 minutes tonight. Only got 1 point. He's been getting more minutes recently, so in an already short rotation, you're cutting out Amir Ali, and then Sean Phillips, 0 points in 9 minutes, multiple turnovers, only 3 rebounds. Probably the worst game of the season from Sean Phillips Jr.
But what if the best games this season look like for Sean Phillips?
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not that much of a difference. But there have been a couple moments where Sean Phillips was like, "Hey, I'm tall and big," and boom. Is that
what it takes to play center?
Honestly, at Sean Phillips' size, not to like dumb it down because you have to be smart to be an athlete, but yes, like that is if you're 7 foot and wildly athletic.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things in the chat. Caden saying the free throws were crucial, and I think they were right. Obviously, 15 to 22, only 68%, but the 3-point shooting tonight was just abysmal for this team. And again, normally there's a player or two on this team that can get pretty hot from 3, whether that be Sandin. We've seen Amir Ali at times do it. Adam Miller at certain points. Between Adam Miller and Josan Sandin, they went 30%. Your best 3-point shooters shot a 30% night, taking 10 threes. It wasn't where this team thrives. I feel like this team has been built on the idea that any given night, any one of these guys can really score, right? You've seen it from Bashir. You've seen it from Sandin. You've seen it from Adam Miller. You've seen it from Alston. You've seen it from BJ. Literally, at every point this season, you've seen one guy in that starting 5 take over a game.
But then you've also seen games where they're nothings, or when they're way underneath too. It's like and that's the thing is there's a variance, right?
Yeah.
Like there's the good part of it, and BJ's been more consistent, right? But even look at like a Jaden Quaintance, you can't be consistent offensively, right?
But I'm also cool with that because of what he does defensively.
No, I'm not saying this in a singular way to call out or to bring down any player. I'm just saying from a team perspective, why do you have 20-point halves and then why do you have 41-point halves?
Yeah, it's just inconsistency.
It's inconsistency, and it's really tough because you see the highs of it and you see like the talented players that you were breaking down.
Yeah.
Right? And you go, "Oh wow, these thoughts are forming in my head about what this team could be if everybody's playing like that all at once or somewhat consistently," because you're never going to have every player give their best performance every night.
No, I get that.
But it's, take the extremes and just bring it just a little bit more towards the center, right? How do you do that? What is this team lacking that doesn't have that? And to me, it's this buzzword of offensive identity that we've talked about.
Yeah, but go ahead.
But I'm just saying, I think what we learned today is that their offensive identity is to get stops and to go in transition and to play chaotic basketball.
Yeah, but that's been Bobby Hurley's identity since he's been the coach here for the last decade.
Yeah, it's just not an identity. But it's just not an identity that I think is going to cut it in the Big 12.
And that's a bigger question. That's a bigger question for a show that is not a post-game show.
Well, I feel like we're there right now.
Do you? Do you feel like we're at the point this team is 10-5?
No,
I feel like we are. I'm gonna say you are red button hand over it.
I'm not red buttoning. I'm more just I'd like to talk about like the problem, right?
Yes, the problem is what it's been for the last decade.
Right. And so you start to think like what are solutions to that problem?
I mean,
right.
Cook master. Come on. Let's go.
I'm just saying I think that Bobby Hurley is a very like aware coach. Like you saw how he talked over the offseason about joining the Big 12 and like the fire that it lit under him in the competition.
Yeah.
And I think what you're starting to learn is, how ASU was able to win before, which is what you mentioned, how they always play, which is like this chaotic brand of basketball.
With really good defense.
And then somebody gets hot either within a game or for a streak of games or people are taking turns, whatever. And then that wins you big games, right? Upsets against really high ranked teams when you're not, like seasons where you're in the top 5 and the top 3 could have been number 1. Like these incredible highs, because when it's working and when the chaos is being created, like you can capitalize, and they're great at that.
Yeah.
And that's a skill, and not every team can do that. And to do it consistently is a testament to, like, sometimes you see who people really are in like those tough moments, who teams really are when it's a nail biter, when there is chaos. But for sustained success, especially now in the Big 12, we have to start seeing more of a consistent, like, what is their go-to offensive identity, right? When the going gets tough, when you need a bucket, how do you get one if you don't get a stop on the other end?
So my question to you then would be, thank you first off, John, in the chat, appreciate that. What is this team built for offensively, right? Based off of the weapons that you have, where would you take this?
I think it's a lot of pick and rolls, pick and pops, like specifically with BJ Freeman off ball and getting BJ Freeman in movement. Take Jaden Quaintance and Alston Mason, for example. Jaden Quaintance, not a good offensive player right now. He's 17 years old, very raw, especially around the rim, but certainly has some athletic potential when it comes to rim running and diving to the paint and getting some easy looks. It's just finishing on those. So what you do is, to start, you take Alston Mason, and you can have Jaden Quaintance send a pick either direction. You have BJ Freeman off ball. Alston Mason drives in off of a pick. You have Quaintance roll, right? And if Jaden Quaintance knows that Jaden Quaintance is getting the basketball, it's a lot easier to rim run, or to go for a lob, or to have your hands ready and the mentality to finish over.
Yeah.
Right? So you kind of force feed it to Quaintance a little bit. That's what you start early in your offense. And that is a way to start getting attention, even if he's not finishing, right? You're starting to think, okay, well, that's going to be their go-to. That's how they start things off. Meanwhile, you have your most potent offensive scoring option off on the wing. And if you start getting attention on Quaintance, let's say he starts converting because he's 17, you get his confidence up, you feed him easy looks. Or you let Alston Mason shoot a couple times first, get some more attention on him, then set it up to Quaintance. It's all about stacking how you have defenses react, right? So you break it down, and then all this time, defenses are going to start to forget about BJ Freeman. You wait a little bit to get him involved. He can get his own bucket. He could shoot off ball. He could dribble. He could do whatever. Like, you don't have to worry about getting him involved offensively early. So leave him be. Let him be kind of a distraction. As soon as they start to forget, and they'll start sending help at Alston or on Quaintance or on Bashir, who's a pick and pop threat as well. The same thing can apply to Bashir, just in a different way. And when you do that, now you free up BJ Freeman. Now Freeman's getting at least one-on-one looks, right? Or not getting doubled helped, or not having a ton of attention so he can shoot a 3 and get in rhythm and get nice quality shots. So if you have like this sequence of events that you can see you go to often, you can start exploiting where the opposing defense is giving you things, because every defense has to react and give you slight opportunities based off of what they're trying to stop on the other end. So doing stuff like that consistently, letting it build, like this team just doesn't do that. They just say, ball up top, like, let's run.
Your turn.
Let's run. And sometimes that's awesome, right? But that's just not how you can win 2 halves or a half an OT, right? Or every single possession finding an advantage. Like, it's just not working out.
Yeah, it's not.
That's just not working out.
Kyle.
You are now entering Anthony Totri's Football Freak.
I did lock in.
This is not Anthony Totri's Football Freak Zone. This is Erik Ruby's Basketball Freak Zone.
I think I blacked out.
Yeah, you're just cooking. You ripped an offense in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. You were just ready to rumble, dude.
I didn't even mention like how you could use Adam Miller in that as well. Like, you're like Josan Sandin as well. There are ways that you can form an offensive identity with any team. Yeah. With any personnel. Like even last year's team. I'm not saying it would have made them better, but you could have. Yeah. Right. And they kind of did with how they ran things through Jose Perez. So that's when I sit here and I complain about lack of offensive identity, or not wanting chaos ball to be your identity, but rather like a version of yourself that you can tap into. It's because I want them to compete against the teams like Baylor, against Kansas. And they've shown that they can hang in there for a half, but you're not winning these games unless you play like a good full game.
Yeah. No, I look, I'm 100% with you. I think some really good things, some really good talking points, Justin, what you brought up. I do want to get to By the Numbers, presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes. Of course, Erik, the only number that matters is that final score. The Baylor Bears outlasting and outdueling the Arizona State Sun Devils 72-66 in overtime. The leading scores for each squad: 22 for BJ Freeman, 19 for Baylor's Omir. The way the two teams shot from the floor tonight: 43% for Baylor, 37% for Arizona State, 22 of 60. It gets even worse from behind the arc for the Sun Devils: 7 of 24 from three-point land, 8 of 21 for Baylor. And get this, time leading tonight: 39 minutes and 33 seconds for Baylor, 17 seconds for Arizona State.
And what is 17 seconds those were?
Yeah, I guess if you want to put it,
sometimes
ultimate spin zone.
Sometimes 17 seconds is all you need. Okay.
Oh my, we're back to this, huh? We're back to that.
If they won the game and they led for 17 seconds, it's the most important 17 seconds. Okay. So JJB in the chat, what's up? LTC John BC. JJ going dudes, and then a 4-letter word that we can't say.
What do you think of tonight's performance? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, that's a word we can't say.
Yeah.
But JJ, you missed it. I freak zoned. I freak zoned all over this thing.
Freak zone. You absolutely did. More freak zone on the other side of this break?
Yes, please.
Let's do it.
Let me get in my freak zone and talk about Pure Edibles. Because Pure Edibles helps you unlock your inner freak zone. When you're breaking down a game, you're listening to music, you're, just playing a video game, maybe yourself, maybe you're watching a movie. Pure Edibles is here to enhance your experience. And the best part about it is the fact that they don't just market it as indica, THC, hybrid, whatever, but they do have all those things and other cannabinoids like CBN, CBG,
what a word,
CBD. Huh? But they brand it and label it based off of what effect it's going to have with you. Whether you want to relax, whether you want to be balanced out, whether you want to have bliss, whether you want to be uplifted, relaxed, sleepy. And you have all those flavors in delicious options as well. Starburst-like flavors, right? Other gummies, like they have chocolates as well. And Pure Edibles was created in Flagstaff, AZ at Noble Herb Dispensary. It's the home of Pure Edibles, and they're now made here in Phoenix. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles, Pure Edibles, from one of their over 130 dispensaries in the state of Arizona.
Boom. Yeah, you really did just cook a second time. Got in your freak zone there. Look, I'm going to tell you about our friends over at Circle K. Of course, I like to feel like this is the PHNX Sun Devils personalized studio here.
I mean, we own this place.
We do. And that's all thanks to our friends over at Circle K. Again, this is Studio K presented by Circle K. And look, Circle K is going out of their way to help you guys save money with their free membership program, Inner Circle. Super easy to download. Literally, you can do it in the next 30 seconds. Just go to the App Store, download the app, enter your email and phone number to be fully enrolled. And after that, all you need is your phone number to start getting deals. That sounds like you could do it in the next 15 seconds if you wanted to. And we're talking about deals like saving 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups and so much more. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading that Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
You want me to get in the freak zone?
Go ahead. I mean, do what you got to do.
BC
man.
says Sannon should have taken twice as many shots.
He should have. Took 5.
Here's the let's continue to talk about establishing an offense. Walk with me here.
Let's skip. Why don't we?
Walk with me.
Can we skip?
No, we're not ready to skip yet.
No, we have to walk.
We need to establish
I feel like
the
we
basics.
might need to crawl at this point.
Okay, let's crawl.
Okay, let's crawl.
Crawl with me here.
Okay.
Right? Josan Sannon is
a dog.
The second best scorer on the team behind BJ Freeman with potential to be the best.
Okay, I would disagree, but okay.
Who do you think would be the best?
I think it's Sannon. I think Sannon is the purest scorer.
I think Sannon's a pure scorer. I think BJ Freeman is more experienced, his body type, and the fact that he's going to start and play more minutes. Like, he is the best scoring option on this team. I think if you're going to say who's going to get me 20,
you're taking BJ.
I think most night, like, the thing with Josan Sannon, and this is maybe why, is because, like, BJ Freeman took 19 shots tonight. Like, BJ Freeman's going to lead your team in shots, right?
Sure.
I think that's where they are. JJ says Sannon. It's not even close. Sannon's the best pure scorer.
Yeah.
The best pure scorer, has the highest ceiling, right? But he needs to be empowered to be that pure scorer.
Okay.
And tonight he wasn't.
I'm still walking with you.
5 field goals.
Yeah.
He was 2 of 5 from the field. If you have somebody coming off the bench who could and probably should be starting for you,
should be,
and you bring them off the bench and sorry, JJ's distracting me.
Yeah, I was gonna say
sorry, JJ's distracting me. But you take him and you don't just unleash him and say, like, we're going to put you out there and just let you cook, let you shoot as much as possible.
But I think they should.
No, that's what I'm saying is they don't do that, and that's the problem.
You're talking with Sandin.
It's Sandin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they should empower Sandin to do it.
Okay. Yeah, I heard you. Sandin is literally just outperforming BJ Freeman in every category, averaging more points per game. His field goal percentage is higher. His 3-point percentage is higher. His free throw percentage, I think, is the one thing that isn't higher. But yeah, look, and I don't even think it's as simple as like Sandin's the better scorer. I think it is, again, has more to do with the offense in terms of the conversation of like, you look at some of these NBA teams, right? How they're constructed offensively, and you question why they don't work. Right? How many teams have superstars that they can't find ways to win games? Right? That's not a jab at the Suns. But like when you look at those problems versus what we have on this team right now, right? It feels like there are pieces, right, that fit into the offense that you're talking about, but it's just simply the chemistry is almost not there, right? Like you got to think about how many of these guys have not played together for an entire season, right? Literally, pretty much the entire roster is new. And some of the guys that you're rolling out there, like a Sandin or acquaintance, are so young.
Okay, but that to me is only excusable if you see an improvement over the season. If you see that,
is that the only way that it's excusable, or is it like it's a real thing?
I know it's a real thing. You know, I'm not saying it's not a real thing, but like now you're at the point where like a lot of these guys have played 14 games together. Like Sean Phillips missed a game and Sandin's missed 2 games. Right. Other than that, every other player has played every game together. You should get better 14 games playing in together by the time you get into conference play. Like it, maybe at the end of the season, if you look back and say like that's not a team that can play on a championship level, right, and can play together and they know where everybody's tendencies is going to be, like that's to come later.
Yeah.
But you can't look like you're still learning how to play with each other, right? Like when we first started doing a podcast together. Right. The first couple like times that we do, it's okay. We're figuring out how to do a show together. And were we at our best where we knew what each other was doing and what we were thinking at all times? Like we can kind of do now.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying you were Rudy Gobert. That's
okay. That you said a lot of crap. I was about to just give this beautiful analogy to how we've grown as a show.
Keep cooking.
Because now we're back to F you.
Come on,
you called
man.
me Rudy Gobert.
It was just a joke.
It's never a joke.
Come on, JJ.
You keep my name and Rudy Gobert out of your house.
Yeah, Rudy's one of the best defensive players of the last 20 years.
Everybody hates Rudy.
I mean, I didn't say you were Rudy Gobert.
I mean, you did. You literally did.
No,
you said, I'm Anthony Edwards. I'm the young, fun talent that everybody says is the best shooting guard in the league.
You're younger than me. So.
You're the 7-foot French guy that everybody hates. That sure, like he's undeniable. Like he's good at what he does.
He's great at what
everybody
he does.
looks at him like we absolutely hate watching that guy do his job. That's what you just. That's just what you compared us to.
I think you're reading way too much into
I'm
it.
just having fun.
You're reading way too much into it.
You brought up an NBA player, and I wanted to go back in my bag.
JJB says, Totri, how many times we talk about this every season? We're 15 games in. Yeah, no, I think again, what I'm trying to say is getting misconstrued a little bit, or maybe my delivery was just piss poor. Like I'm like agreeing with you. I think the 15 games, I think it's a problem. But what I'm trying to get back at is again, we saw this over the last 3 seasons with these teams that have been constructed that have not played together from the transfer portal. This system has not fit them what they do well, right? It just simply hasn't. And I think what we're seeing right now is it can sometimes work in non-con play against certain teams, right? That chaos basketball, especially if you get a team on an iffy night, it can work. And it can work in a half, right?
And that's the type of basketball that works in like in March Madness when lower ranked teams upset teams, it's because they play that style and the better team falls into that style. And that's why ASU can upset so many teams. But then they go and they play another team who
we're not playing Pac-12 teams anymore.
Isn't shook by that anymore, and it doesn't work as much.
Yeah, you're not playing teams that usually reside in the top 20s of the AP top 25. You are playing now top 10s, top 15s every single night. And again, I'm not trying to say that as an excuse. It's more so of a thing like, hey, this is what you're going to get, right? If you think that a half of chaos basketball is going to get it done the way it did in the pack, it's not, right? And I think you're right. This is not something that just falls on the players or the coaches. This is a whole team thing. This is like, hey, we're 1-3 in conference. I know it's early, but we can't sit here and say it's early. We're 1-3 in conference when you have Kansas, Iowa State, Houston, Baylor, Arizona. You can't say that when you got those teams in your conference. And the fact of the matter is you're going to see a lot of these teams twice. And if Arizona State is banking on catching some of these teams on the back half, when some that are maybe starting slower or started slower to the season, right? Like in Arizona, like they're not going to catch fire late in the season. Mm-hmm. Now is the time that you have to actually go out there. And we'll get to the Bobby board later because there are some favorable matchups for Arizona State down the stretch, or at least you'd like to think so. Like, but you're out of get out of jail free cards now.
Well, and the thing is also BYU, who destroyed you in your Big 12 opener on the road New Year's Eve, has lost every single conference game after that. And they've been routed. Like, that's a team that if ASU hadn't played BYU yet, you'd be looking at BYU and you would say, oh, that's a team that ASU has a chance to beat. ASU did beat the brakes off Colorado, right?
Which again,
but
like,
JJ says gotta beat UCF as well. Like, you would look at UCF
played Arizona tough tonight,
right,
too.
Exactly. But yeah, you would look at UCF and you would think to yourself, like, oh, that's a team that, you know, ASU should beat, considering that they also got like the brakes beat off of them earlier this season. And then they turn around and they, on the road in McHale, they compete and only lose by 8 against Arizona, right? They beat a Colorado team by 1 and they got destroyed by Kansas 99-48. And so you think to yourself, like, oh, you know, maybe going into UCF, like, you have to win that game. But like, UCF is perfectly capable of beating Arizona State.
So is Cincinnati.
So is Cincinnati. Cincinnati was ranked. And then Cincinnati went out and they lost to Kansas today, like I mentioned. And they got held.
That was a close game, though.
But that was because Cincinnati was up and they blew it, and Kansas held them to 14 points in the second half after holding ASU to 13 the night before. Like, Kansas can just lock in like that, right? West Virginia beat Kansas without their best players. Yeah. Okay. Texas Tech was up 13 to Iowa State.
Lost by a point tonight.
At Lubbock tonight.
Lost by a point.
Iowa State storms back and wins in overtime.
Yeah.
Right? Arizona State is down double digits to Baylor, a team that's
coming off a 20-point loss to Kansas.
Yeah, a team that was ranked coming into the season. Their losses have been to really good programs. And then ASU pulls off a 40-point second half, ties it, goes overtime. Baylor shuts them down in overtime. Gosh. Right? Like,
what was missing in overtime?
Stamina.
I want to get, like, I get that, but like,
Shannon.
Yeah, man. I just, like, again, in something I do want to get quickly touch on before we get into overtime. Sorry, is Chris Cartman, Sun Devil Source, tweeted this out saying Hurley said ASU's energy was better in the second half than the first half. He speculated it might have been somewhat related to some travel-related issues on the Kansas trip, but he wasn't sure it was a factor in ASU falling behind by 15.
Okay, sure, whatever. I never take that type of stuff and be like, oh, okay, yeah.
No, like that's,
if they won the game, they wouldn't have said anything, right? So it's like that to me is like, sure, probably. Does it have a human effect? Sure, but like, listen, you still showed signs of things that you were lacking when you haven't had that travel issue on you, and your lack of energy, and you're sometimes falling flat and not capitalizing on offense. Like, that's not just a travel thing for you, right? So even if that was a factor, it shouldn't be that much of a factor because ASU proved, as they proved against Kansas, they can play good enough to hang with them. But it just gets to a point. You
don't strive to just hang.
No, but that's all this team can do.
Yeah.
That's all this team can do until they show that they have an identity. Like, and there's no other option, okay? Like you said, you're not in the Pac-12 where you can luck your way into a decent winning record in conference just, you know, if you have an easy schedule.
Yeah.
Or if you put together a couple good halves and miraculous, like, stands at the end, right? You're in the Big 12, man. And in the Big 12, the margins ain't just slim. They're practically non-existent.
Yeah,
anybody can beat anybody on any given night, and that includes the worst teams in the conference to the ones that are ranked in the top 5.
This conference will give you gray hair if you're a coach.
Yeah.
Bobby Hurley on ASU's difficult adjustment to the Big 12. He said, quote, "This league will be an adjustment, playing on a Wednesday night in Kansas and flying back, and now you're seeing this team. This league is strong, and we got to get used to being ready to do better."
Yeah, if they got delayed and flew in like last night.
Well, guess what? 3 days from now, you got a 9 p.m. tip against UCF on the road.
That's on the road, 9 p.m. our time?
I believe so. Let me double check.
Way.
Let me double check.
Dude, that would be like an 11 o'clock tip-off.
Let me check. I could be wrong.
There's no way.
Goodness, I can't hit the back bar.
It does say 9 p.m.
But it's
here.
It is here, but it's still at 9 p.m.
No, 9 p.m. is insane. But 9 p.m. in Florida, our time, would be...
Yeah, no, you're right.
Would
It'd
be
crazy.
Inhumane.
Well, guess what? And then 7 days from now, you're at Cincinnati playing at noon.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you get. And you don't really get to come home because 3 days after Cincinnati, then you're at West Virginia. And then guess what? 4 days after that, you have the number 3 team in the country coming to town.
Yep.
Like, this is a gauntlet of a schedule. And Baylor is a rare team in this conference, I feel like, that is really, really solid, really, really good, right? But maybe nationally not treated with that kind of respect.
I mean, they were ranked really high preseason.
They were, but obviously the couple losses
they were the 8th team. Yeah, they were the 8th team in the country when they played the number 6 team in the country. Then Gonzaga in the first game of the season, they got their brakes blown off.
Yeah, but again, that's this conference. Right?
Yeah, I agree. But like,
Baylor's not ranked right now.
No,
and they're going to be a tournament team.
Yeah, Baylor's not ranked. Baylor probably should be ranked at this point. I mean, their losses are
to
blowout losses, but
juggernauts.
They lost to Gonzaga by a blowout. They lost to Tennessee, right? And Tennessee was the number 1 team in the country, and then they got dog walked by Florida, which is insane. It makes our Florida loss look better.
The Florida loss was always good.
Yeah, but Florida beat them 73-43. They had like 19 points in the first half as the number 1 team in the country. Like that was insane. I don't know. Baylor's a really good team. Baylor's not ranked right now. Baylor would probably end the season ranked. VJ Edgecombe is... I
bet you Baylor will be ranked after this week.
Yeah, I would probably agree. We got more.
We got so much more. We got
a lot more to get into, and we will do it after this break. Desert Financial Credit Union. While Arizona State men's basketball might be very inconsistent, Desert Financial Credit Union is the exact opposite. They're the most consistent thing in Arizona. Because for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that make lives better. They have been in my life since my first job in high school, actually since before I was even born, before my parents were even together, because my grandparents had it, my parents had it, and I've had Desert Financial Credit Union. It is passed down through generations because it is reliable and because they're doing more than just, your checkings and your savings accounts. But as life gets more complicated, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more, Desert Financial is there for you. Plus, they're the best place to bank with if you are an Arizona State fan. You can get one of their 3 different ASU designed Visa debit cards and $200. Open a free checking account online. Get your $200 plus a choice of 3 ASU Visa debit cards. Go to desertfinancial.com/ASU to get started.
I love it. If you guys are new here, you're probably asking yourself, it's 10:35 at night. Why am I watching 2 guys wearing sunglasses indoors doing a podcast? Well, 2 answers. You love the podcast and you love Arizona State. And 2, you really just got to admire the Shady Rays, right? The Shady Rays sunglasses. We have talked about them for so long, about the great deal that they have for people that listen to this podcast. And if you haven't taken advantage of it yet, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what they're doing, honestly, allowing you guys still to be able to take advantage of this great deal over at Shady Rays. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try it for yourself. The Shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
John in the chat. We love John. John's always around. Future Sun Devil, speaking it into existence. Says, imagine going 100%, 10% at work at night, having to go across the country and going 110% at noon at work. Then having to go across the country from there and having to go 150% at work. Being an athlete and traveling is tough, right?
Yeah.
And it does wear on the body. And I definitely think that, like, from a human level, that's a factor. But every single team has to do it on any given night. Like, sure, there are home games for teams or whatever, but like sometimes home teams just traveled, right? It's just, to me, it's not a factor unless it's extreme circumstances. And like, yes, they're going to have to travel across the country and play at weird times, but it's not like they're playing back to back.
Yeah.
Right? It's tough. And John says not a basketball fan, so clearly love the podcast. We love you, John. We appreciate you. All of you guys in here, Megan, Tony, maybe Tony. I don't know about Tony.
Tony's Tony.
Yeah, like
Great name, Tony.
I appreciate the bit, right? I know it's not a bit.
for Tony.
It's not a bit, but it is a bit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so consistent with it. So you gotta appreciate it. Megan in here saying it's bedtime. It is pretty late.
Good night, Megan.
The shady rays are keeping us locked in here. What else do you want to talk about with this game? You want to get to
Pop
bottle
some
service?
bottles? Yeah, we could pop some mid bottles tonight. We could do that. Some bottles in the back that maybe you should
Popping
throw
bottles
out.
in
Right,
the
you bought them for a
ice,
barbecue,
like
probably
a
like
blizzard.
a year and a half ago,
When we
and they're in the
drink,
back of
we
your
do it
fridge.
right,
You're like,
getting slizzard.
That's you pull it out. You're like, does this beer? Is it expired?
We're just in two different worlds.
You're singing.
Like 3-6.
This is bottle service. This is
Now
who's
I'm
getting
feeling
bottle
so
service.
fly
It's
like a
BJ
Jesus.
Freeman, 22 points, 8 of 19 from the field tonight.
That's kind of nasty to put his field goal attempt on the graphic. That's kind of rude. I'm not gonna lie.
There's nothing else. No other positive.
Yeah.
thing.
He had.
He's the best, the highest scorer
He
tonight.
had 4 rebounds. He had 1 assist.
Yeah, that was kind of dirty.
It's kind of
dirty.
nuts. It's kind of nuts.
I mean, hey, Captain Redbeard is sharing the ship. He could do whatever the heck he wants.
No, it's true.
Yeah, you got bottle service, BJ.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the terrible take earlier, so we're all getting one mulligan this show. I don't know what yours is yet. Yours is the travel, or no, yours is the they need more time thing. We've all
Not really, though.
No, you're wrong.
What's my thing? What?
Like the fact that it's like it's only 14 games in, like, you know, maybe they're just, you know, it's really hard for a team to do. Like,
I think it is hard for them to do.
Okay, I think, but like that's the job of a coach and a team to do it. Like,
yeah,
in
but
any
you're
sport.
saying I'm with you. I agree with you.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
We are fighting over this.
No, I had this same argument with Damon about something completely different an hour and a half ago, where we're arguing about the same thing, and I'm on your side about it.
But you don't.
But you
talk
just
like
want
it.
to argue with me.
No, see, this is you pointing the finger at
No.
somebody else.
No.
When it's you.
No.
You approach the conversation like an argument, and then you're like, I
No.
wonder why the other person.
Kyle, chime in here. Come on now. Who's right? Who's wrong?
Neither.
Neither
Dude,
one of us
he'll
is
never
right,
pick
or
a
neither
side.
one of us is wrong.
I'm not picking a side.
How am I
the
approaching? Okay, we're on the same page.
We are okay.
Like,
then tell
I
me what
agree.
page we are on.
You said that I am in the wrong. You said that I'm in the wrong. No.
If your take
You're
is
saying
that
my
they
take
haven't
is
had
wrong.
enough, if your take is that they haven't had enough time to gel yet, then yes.
I'm saying that is the problem.
Them not gelling is a problem. That's not the reason. That
it
was the
hasn't been
reason.
enough time.
That was the reason 10 games ago.
I disagree.
So we are arguing. You argued about are we arguing, and then we ended up arguing.
Oh, I love to push your buttons. It's so much fun. It is so
Dude,
much fun.
What else is there? It is 10:40 on a Saturday night. If we are not having fun here, who's gonna have fun out there?
I mean, that's fair. You got any other standouts tonight?
Any other standouts tonight? Jaden Quaintance offensively. Still rough from him, but from defensively, he's still doing great. 8 rebounds as well. He's been pretty consistent in that, right? He did kind of get big boyed today, but to be fair, everybody got big boyed by 17.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to live with that because he's just a freak of nature. VJ Edgecombe, very good.
Yeah, you were
Very-
edging for Edgecombe.
I mean, I've been doing that since the offseason.
Yeah.
We talked,
4.8.
me, you.
4.8. If you know,
Stop.
if you know,
Get
you
outta
know.
here. 4 people. The 4 people, and 2 of the other ones are doing another
Yeah.
show right now.
Yeah.
No, when you look at somebody like that, he's clearly like a 1A talent. like he's going to go possibly top 5 in the draft this year, right? It's hard to play a team like that and another team like Baylor that, has so much good complementary talent around him as well. He ended up playing 41 minutes tonight. He only had 15 points, but he started off hot, and he's still super young as well. So it's hard. Like, again, this is a good Baylor team. Like, in a vacuum, this loss is not the end of the world, right? It was ugly, but you scrapped and you fought against a good team, and it went to overtime. And
that's all Erik. Erik, that's Erik's idea. I want that
for some reason
for everybody that ever comes in this show and is like, hey, who started edging for Edgecombe? I want everybody to know right now that it was Erik Ruby. Erik Ruby has been edging for Edgecombe.
Okay, stop.
He wanted to make the shirt.
Stop.
He's been the captain of that ship.
This is enough. You know what? I was thinking to myself, why in all the shows that I do, because I know that you guys aren't probably familiar with what's going on in Suns land, but there's I've gotten some nicknames over there, and they all are like this type of stuff. And I'm like, do I just do it to myself? Like, I think I do. All I'm saying is, in a vacuum, like, this loss isn't the end of the world. Kyle, that's funny. Kyle in the chat goes, BJ tied the team high for threes. Another positive. That's karmic retribution, Kyle. Way to balance that out. That's awesome. I've been trying to make the same point for like 5 minutes. You've been typing.
Do it. You can do it. I got something important.
Oh, do you? You got an important take going on? Do you mind? Do you want to share with the class?
Well, I got to get the tweet constructed first.
You don't want to share with the class? I swear to God, if you tweet the Edgecombe stuff.
No. It has nothing to do with that.
You got to read this comment, Erik.
No, I'm not reading the comment. I'm done. I'm fighting this. I'm a good person. I don't deserve this. Okay? I'm just trying to talk hoop. Okay? In a vacuum, this loss isn't the end of the world, but it comes with so many other losses that fall under the same vein in the same way. And then you start to feel the weight of those other losses piling upon you. Right. And so the excuses of they haven't had enough time, or, like, these are young players or whatever, it just wears off when you don't see these problems get improved upon, and it leads to the same result, even if you can, like, overcome it through the other means of your identity, whether it's grit, right? Whether it's, chaos defense.
Keep going. Yeah.
Are you done typing
I'm
this
working
tweet
on
yet,
it,
dude?
I'm just confirming everything.
Can you whisper this in my ear? Like, what is going on?
I'll tell it to you before. Just keep.
Rocking. Is Kenny going to the Patriots? It's not.
No,
Vrabel?
It's not. It's definitely gonna interest some people.
I'm just gonna sit in silence to make you go faster.
No, don't do that. Come on, cook.
Okay, this is incredible. William says Bobby Hurley. Coach half-court offense and boxing out on rebounds level impossible. It does feel like the little thing. Like, again, the demands are not high for what this team needs. Like, if they lost tonight, but it was like, wow, they just weren't hitting shots, but they did what ASU did, which is start in a pick and roll and with Quaintance and draw the defense in, and then use Bashir to, stretch it out from 3. And now BJ Freeman has space to operate. And then you start rotating between those 3 and keeping the defense on their toes. And then you add a 4th in there when Sandin comes off the bench, or if you're trying to get something going with Alston Mason and his drives, like, you can find out what a team is made of. And even though I guess it possibly makes you easier to scout, like, you still know your go-to bread and butter to take advantage of. And if you're not able to do that on a consistent basis, then you're not going to be a winning team in the Big 12. And it doesn't really matter if you've accumulated a winning record or if you've only lost 1 or 2 games going into Big 12 play. What's going to determine if you make it or not? Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is something.
Yeah, that is certainly something.
That is something. Are you willing to share with the class after we take a break?
Yeah, we could share. I'm going to share it on Twitter first.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, so why don't you press send? Look like a pretty good one, right? Let's take a break and then let's share with the class. Okay?
Okay, we can do that.
Drive into the new year in a new Ford from Sanderson Ford. New year, new vehicle, makes for a new you in 2025. Take the whole family out in style. Save 11 grand off a new Expedition. That's a lot of money.
It is.
Hit the trails or make your own in a new Bronco Badlands, the winner for best car name ever. Sanderson has 28 to choose from with discounts at up to $10,000 off. Purchase a new Edge for only $35,995. They also took in hundreds of quality trade-ins during their year-end sale and had 25 pre-owned vehicles with a warranty for under 25 grand. For the best deals in 2025, choose Sanderson Ford. No hassle, no pressure, no nonsense experience. Get more from your trade-in with easy on-the-spot financing. Drive into the new year in a new Ford from Arizona's most awarded Ford dealership, the Ford dealership that sells the most Fords in the country. 64-acre facility, a museum, a dining option, all of it there. Their Starliner Diner at Sanderson Ford.
With a new car, you can drive, go have a nice little staycation over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You can visit any one of their 4 locations. And look, they want you to be a winner, right? Because everybody is a winner over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Play to win every Friday in January and February. You guys are going to have a chance to win cash, free bonus play, or qualify for the grand final drawing. Okay, get ready to rev your engines for the $350,000 Lamborghini Lux giveaway. Look, a ton of different ways to win. You can do the play to win, the weekly drawings, the grand finale, of course. Join them for the grand finale on Saturday, March 1st at Wild Horse Pass, where one lucky winner will drive away in a Lamborghini. Every Friday at 7 p.m. are the drawings. Guys, remember, you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playathila.com for more details or check out the link in the description. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Do you want to finish up on the game and talk about what we did?
Let's talk about the tweet and then let's go and finish with the game.
Okay. I was obviously in the midst of a conversation and was told, obviously, that Jaden Rashada, former Arizona State quarterback who had transferred to Georgia over the summer, who's currently in the transfer portal, was in attendance for the hockey game last night and was back at Arizona State for the men's basketball game tonight. Don't know, again, haven't heard anything further on if he's back on a visit, meeting with people, or if he's just back like visiting. I mean, maybe
friends here, right? Like, he did spend a year here, and a lot of people who spend time here like to come back.
Correct.
Would he want to be the backup here? I know he was just the backup at Georgia. Maybe no other place is trying to let him play. Maybe
he could definitely get offers.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm interested again to see if like this does turn into something. Is this like how the staff approaches this, right? Because then ultimately there will be questions about this. It's a weird thing, right?
There would be no questions about who your starting quarterback is.
No. I'm not saying there would be questions about that. I'm just curious on how like the coaching staff would answer questions about it, right? Because it is a weird situation, right? Sam Leavitt comes in as a transfer quarterback, an alpha personality, when you had Jaden Rashada, who was like, I mean, the prince that was promised at one point.
Yeah,
right?
he was supposed to be like what Sam Leavitt's doing right now
is what
on
people
the level,
thought, yes.
Like you thought he was going to be the quarterback that elevated you to the next level.
But he got hurt. Right. In spring ball, right? Out, not a like a practice related injury, right? Something personal.
Yeah.
And then misses a good chunk of spring ball. Sam wins the job, transfers out to Georgia, where you already know you're going to be the backup. People are saying, okay, he's on to his 5th school, 4th school, whatever. He's going to go get back, right? But he wants to play. He wants to compete with the best of the best. And then now he's back in the portal. And then he comes back to Arizona State. Okay, well, how does that locker room work now? How does that quarterback room work now? What's the conversation like of like, okay, was this Arizona State reaching out to Jaden Rashada? Or was this Jaden Rashada reaching out to Arizona State saying, hey, the grass isn't always greener?
Yeah, or it could just be that he's here. Right.
Or it could just be that he's here.
Right. But like, let's explore. I mean, that's no fun, right? To just say it like that. So like, let's explore. So you want to know what that conversation would go like, because let's just say hypothetically, Jaden Rashada is returning to Arizona State. Right. I'll be Kenny. I'll be Kenny.
What a sentence.
You be the hard hitting media reporter.
Okay.
You ask me and I'll tell you what I think Kenny would say.
Coach, what was the initial conversation like between you and Rashada on getting him back in the building, and who initiated it?
Well, it was just real. No.
Oh my goodness. Is that your Kenny impression?
That's more Doc. That's Kenny after a big win. It's more Doc Rivers after every day.
Yeah. Every day is a game 7 for Doc Rivers. Just know that.
Yeah, well, that he's losing every day. So here's what the initial conversation was. So Jaden was looking for a place where he could develop as a quarterback, and some place where he could, not be promising playing time, but can compete. And that's what we always say here. You can always come here. You can compete. And we loved having Jaden here when he was first here. We think he's a great kid. We think he's a very talented quarterback. And he's just looking for a place to develop so that if he does play, whether it's here or his next stop, he's in a better position to do that. So whenever any transfer leaves, we always tell them that, if the situation is right and if they want to come back, they can always approach me and have a conversation. So we talked. It was mutual. And Jaden's back here under the understanding that he's going to be competing for a spot because everybody's competing for a spot.
Competing for a starting spot.
Yes, because I'm not promising anybody playing time. I never will. You could be Cam Scadaboo. You could be Sam Levitt. You could be
a returning
Keyshawn Elliott.
A returning Heisman level quarterback that led this team to the college football playoff.
If you get outplayed, then you don't start. But Sam has full confidence that he's going to be able to do it. Rashada understands, where we are with Sam and what we did with Sam, and that there is a relative possibility that he doesn't see the field or he is a backup and he's only here to hone his skills. But he's okay with that. He's accepted everything. That's the only type of person we want here. Right. Sam's not going to care that I said that they're competing for the starting spot. Because
have you had that conversation with Sam?
Yeah, of course. Sam welcomes all competition, but also understands, he's very confident. I don't know if you heard what he said before the Peach Bowl, but he's very confident in what he can do and what he has done. And he wants the room to be better. And we think that Jaden and Rashada can make this team better.
Was this a conversation that you had with Sam prior to Rashada or after?
Well, it's not like Sam would be given the final say on recruits that we bring and we don't bring in, but we do value his opinion. We brought it up to him to see how he would respond, and he was all game. And
before or after?
That was after the conversation with him, but before. First of all, he's not giving me this information. But if you shot me on Truth Serum, this is what
I'm pressing you. That's what you wanted me to do.
And I'm answering.
No, you're not. You're deflecting, which is what coaches do.
No, I'm answering.
No, you're giving me coach speak. I don't need
You just
coach
don't understand it.
Okay, buddy. Okay, there, Rudy.
We welcome all competition. He was ready to compete. He's the right head on his shoulders. I enjoyed while he was here and think he's a good kid. He's a good quarterback. And we think that he can help this program on the field, off the field, whatever opportunity may come up.
I mean, definitely something to monitor over the next few days for Arizona State.
John nails it. John says it feels like Kenny sitting right next to Anthony instead of Ruby.
Yeah, I mean,
also calling you Anthony's awesome.
Okay. You done with that?
Yeah, I think, honestly, here's the thing. If Sam Levitt doesn't care, if there's, no hard feelings,
Sam's guy.
If Rashada's, yeah. But
I'm not having that conversation with, I'm having that conversation with Jaden very differently than you are.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm telling you.
You are the number 2 at best.
Well, no, what I'm saying is there's you could be realistic. Look at what Sam did. Look at what he did on this level and for this team.
Don't forget, Jeff Sims is still back.
Oh yeah, Rashada would be my third. I would tell him straight up right now. You
still have Navi Brunson on your team,
and then you have Michael Tolfson,
and then you got Butter coming in.
I mean, but you're being real with him. But Kenny doesn't promise anybody anything, ever.
I'm telling you right now, Sam Levitt knows he's the starting quarterback.
Yeah, because everybody knows Sam Levitt's the starting quarterback.
Okay, so then yes, there is a promise there.
Yeah, but if Sam Levitt stinks it up next season for the first 6 games,
then
again, there's going to be a conversation.
He's going into the season as the starter.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you approach Rashada and you say you work hard, you do the best you can do, and if you're end up being the best,
me about a hypothetical.
Yes,
you know that.
Yes.
Kyle over here, look at him. It's just over it. Absolutely incredible stuff.
All right, you want to go back to basketball?
Dumb. Sam Levitt is starting.
I'm not saying he's not. Who said he wasn't
you
starting?
Did. You did.
No, I didn't.
Play it back. If we could cut
No.
Did he not just say that?
No.
Well, they're going to probably Dyer is committed as a wide receiver.
What I said is you approach every single person and you say, no job is promised. Obviously, Sam is QB1 going into the season.
That's what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying,
that's a promise.
But yeah, that's the expectation.
I'm having a 4th grade conversation.
Okay, fine. It's the promise for the start of the season, but the promise is not that you will be the starting quarterback the whole year. It's everybody. It's just what Kenny says. You asked me to be Kenny. That's what Kenny says. Kenny says every position is a constant competition, and if you're getting
Except
outplayed
quarterback.
and outworked, unless he sucks, which he won't, and nobody thinks he will.
What do you think, Captain Redbeard?
And he says, Sam is our guy, like he said all year long.
Absolutely.
Sam is our guy.
Sam is our guy.
Sam is our guy.
Yeah, thank you. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Sam. That's what you got right there. Okay? Look.
I'm not, in no world, do not twist this. In no world.
You said no one's twisting.
Do not
anything.
twist this.
No one's
You are
twisting
twisting this.
anything.
You are
Kyle
absolutely
is
twisting
with
this.
me on this. Chad is with me on this. You said, and I quote, I don't promise anybody anything. Sam knows he's going to have to compete for the job. My tushy, because I can't say other words.
That's what Kenny would tell you.
100% been promised up
Do you understand
and down the
that when I
street
was talking,
that he is the
Hold
starting
up.
quarterback.
Can we establish
and
something?
Kenny is standing on it.
Stop.
Oh, yank
Stop.
on me.
Stop.
Yank on me.
Both of you. I need both of you. Kyle, Anthony, first names.
No,
Look at
you're
me.
wrong.
Look at me. Do you realize that when I was answering those questions and saying those things, I was telling you what Kenny Dillingham would tell you, not what I think or what is actually true. Do you think
I
that
don't know.
Kenny went to Scat and said you're not the starting running back this year?
Senor
No.
Spin Zone. That's your name.
It's not a spin zone when it's the truth.
Well, that's what Spin Zone says.
Y'all got all worked up over nothing and then tried to gaslight me.
no.
I was clearly being
No.
Kenny and what Kenny would tell you. I literally said, let's do this thought exercise. And then 5 minutes later, they're like, all the things you said were your opinions. Even though I was like, no, no. Like, clearly those things were established. Like, John gets it. John understands. John says, obviously, Sam is 100% the starter, which, yes, duh. And that's pretty much a promise, but Kenny wouldn't say that.
To the media or to Sam?
To the media. But if you asked him what he said to Sam, that's what he would tell you.
Yeah.
Every single transfer coming in here is like, yeah, you have a chance to play if you compete and you're the best at your position. But it's understood that if there's a clear, surefire number one at your position, like that type of thing is just understood. But if you outplay them over the season, you'll get playing time. Right? Like that's the general promise. What a dumb way to close this show. That was so stupid.
He said we're getting worked up. Look at him. You're up in arms, leaning back in the
Stupid.
chair
It's like he's breaking a sweat.
at 11 o'clock at night, dude. Calm
Dude,
down.
I'm loopy. I've already covered an entire Suns game
Yeah.
this afternoon. I'm getting loopy. Okay.
Getting loopy.
Too much mid basketball in my life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you thrive. People say Erik Ruby is a watcher of mid basketball.
I do.
The
Honestly,
new nickname?
I take.
You were the watcher of mid basketball.
How about just the watcher?
That kind of goes crazy.
How about just the watcher of mid?
The watcher of mid? Yeah, but that could apply to anything. Is your whole life just mid?
Just constant. I'm Squidward. I'm just Squidward. Just scene changing. Same thing.
That's your celebrity comp.
My like legit like personality wise.
No, just
Or like,
overall
look,
celebrity comp.
Overall celebrity comp.
Which honestly,
I don't know.
as I've gotten older, fire character. Totally understand where he's coming from. SpongeBob would annoy the absolute piss out of me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Any final thoughts on this basketball game?
You got to be more consistent, but I said that a million times. It's the only consistent thing about this team is that they're consistently inconsistent.
They are consistently inconsistent. But something that is always consistent here on the PHNX Sun Devils show is when those lights dim, when we've been hovering around an hour. Wow, I can't even
Should
speak
I actually
anymore.
dim the lights?
What about the bobby board?
Ooh.
You give the Bobby board. I'm going to actually dim the lights.
Okay, let's do that. Let's get to the Bobby board before the lights go out in this place. Look at that. No new Bobby face at this point. You've lost 3 of your first 4 conference games. Lost to BYU, stormed back offensively in a great performance to beat Colorado. Lost to Kansas, lost to Baylor, and now you're on a whole new row. Only 4 Bobby heads on that row. And like we said, you got to get right for UCF, Cincinnati, West Virginia. Those are games you got to try and win, especially with a school like Iowa State after those 3. Guys, if you are joining us on television, the party continues, of course, at gophnx.com. Of course, as you could see, it just so happened, Rubus sat here the whole time, The lights magically dimmed.
Magic.
Because it hit that time. Kyle, I need you to answer a question for me that I've been longing to ask you.
4.8.
If you know, you know. What time is it, Captain Redbeard?
Closing time.
Closing time. This segment powered by Neutral. Keep it tasty, Tempe. Enjoy responsibly. This one is going to feel a little personal, especially for me, guys. This is our takeaway from the game. It's just pain, Erik.
Awesome.
It's just
Awesome.
pain. Today, I spent a solid 8 hours watching mid-offense from the Los Angeles Chargers breaking my heart to the Arizona State Sun Devils losing in overtime because of a mid-offensive start. Gotta get right. Gotta get ready for next week, and you gotta get ready for the rest of conference play. Guys, that is going to do it for tonight's episode of the PHNX Sun Devil Show. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button on your way out. If you enjoy the content, give us a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow this guy at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. You can follow the captain of this beautiful vessel at K Coop Sports. Of course, that is Captain Redbeard. We will see you guys on Monday, as always. Go Devils. And
wait. John, we never did aftertaste. He says, wanted to know what was shoved into y'all's sucker holes.
well,
We have to do it. We have to do
a
it.
fireball shot when the bar is closed.
Yeah, on the way out. Sorry.
A fireball shot when the bar is closed. Totally unnecessary. Didn't need it at all. Just like this game.
My bad. Let's end it.
We all silly like the mayor.